has been in the Socialist Workers' Party for best part of 40 years, best part of that time being in Britain. He's written on numerous topics, and he has 2 new books out. I'd encourage people to consider looking in the bookstall for them. One on anarchism and the second on the media. He's written widely apart from those 2, the books on the media. But today's talk is the dialectic. What is the dialectic logic? And as with all other meetings in Marxism, the speaker will speak for half an hour, and then we'll have questions and discussion. So if you're ready,
no, don't worry.
I'll witter on some more then about John's.
No.
You had this plan, didn't you?
The windows are open in the back, are they? Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. No, I do apologise, everybody. I thought it was 3:45, so I was sitting there discussing problems of Sinn Féin with Kieran. Anyway, right, in a 30-minute talk on dialectics, it's obviously not possible to do more than give an introduction. Won't be able to deal with everything. What I want to try and do, the aspiration, is to give as clear and straightforward an introduction as possible, and I hope if I don't succeed in that, or then people will take me up in the discussion and ask for clarification or whatever. But the idea is to try and do that. I just want to stress that a lot of the books, if you would turn to look for books on Marxist philosophy and on dialectics and so on, you'll find things written in impenetrably obscure academic language. This does not mean that they are so brilliant and you are just not clever enough to understand them. It's because there's a cult in the academic world. Just like doctors used to write prescription notes that nobody else could understand, so that the same thing goes on in academia. And if you were going to, there are miles of academics who build their careers by writing. They know actually very little about dialectics or other things, but they do it in this language, and it makes them look very clever. It makes you feel not very clever, and so on. So I'm going to try and avoid that. I don't think that fundamentally the issues involved are that difficult. Some of them are not always the easiest thing, but they're not that difficult. And so we'll see. Right. First of all, what is dialectics? Well, it is, I would suggest, it's one of the 2 key aspects of Marxist philosophy. By Marxist philosophy, I mean the fundamental way in which Marx and Marxists analyse history, society, the world, including the natural world. A fundamental way of looking at the world. That's normally called dialectical materialism. The term was not used by Marx, but I think it's a fair enough term, because Marxist philosophy is both materialist and dialectical. Just say a word about the materialist aspect of this. What does it mean to say that Marxists are materialists? It means, first of all, doesn't mean we're greedy, doesn't mean we're only concerned with economic issues or anything like that, but it means, first of all, that Marx believed that the real world, the world outside of human beings, actually does exist independently of human beings. That's kind of obvious in a sense, but it is a major debate in the history of philosophy. Ireland's leading philosopher, Bishop Berkeley, down at Trinity College, after whom Berkeley University is named and so on, believed the real world didn't exist. That there wasn't a material reality, and that things only kind of, as it were, popped into existence when they were perceived by people, which he then used as an argument for the existence of God, because it was God who guaranteed that things were continually appearing and were there, and so on. And it's been a long debate. But Marx believed that the material world exists independently of human beings. And the second key point, that it exists prior to human beings and prior to mind. So matter is prior to mind. Again, you could say it's a matter of scientific fact, in a way, you know, we know there were dinosaurs, there was the Earth, there was the solar system and so on before human beings, but then what follows from that then also is the fact that ideas grow out of material conditions of people's real experience rather than creating them. And that really becomes a rather important political point. For example, the ideology of racism. Marxists argued that the ideology of racism came into being as a result of and as a justification for slavery and imperialism, not the other way around. It wasn't that people just happened to be racist, and because they happened to be racist, therefore they went out and enslaved people and created empires. The other way around. It was the reality of slavery, which was undertaken for economic reasons, slave trade and imperialism, and so on, then led to the development of the ideology of racism to justify it. That's just one example. So in that sense, Marxism is materialist, but Marxism is also dialectical. And the dialectic here, I would say, is essentially the idea that development history occurs through contradictions, through the struggle of opposed forces.